Awesome. Hey, Mountain Springs, don't you love that? So good to be with you guys today. What an honor, what an honor. There are so many people in the communities that you saw outside there where the kids are that are watching in this moment. They've been praying with us for this moment. We are honored, man. We are honored to be with you here today. But before we do get started, I do want to honor your pastors, Pastor Daniel and Lori, really your entire team here, those that serve at Mountain Springs. You guys have a tremendous vision. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your faithfulness. I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank you for that commitment, right? I want to thank you for that commitment to that vision. My journey with OneChild started 17 years ago. And OneChild is actually based in Colorado Springs here. So I consider us neighbors, we're family. But my wife, Emily, and our 4 kids, we live here in Colorado Springs. And this journey over 2 decades, I got some photos up here that really highlight a few of those moments. And I always seem to find myself somewhere around the world surrounded by kids in those communities. I absolutely love it. But that started for me going back to 5, 6 years old. I would travel around the country of Zimbabwe, where I was born, with my dad. My dad was involved in ministry and outreach to some pretty impoverished areas. So I got exposed to extreme poverty at a young age. And it means so much for me. I don't take this moment lightly at all. It means so much for me to be here today because I feel that the vision of this church is in deep alignment with the calling that I have on my life and the commitment that I've given that to. Church, this is a core part of who you are. You see the walls. The vision of this church, it breaks beyond the walls of this church. And that does not happen by accident. You have leaders who are committed to that vision, who mobilize their people around that. I chose that word specifically, mobilize, and I want to read you the definition here. Inspiring and equipping people to take meaningful action around a shared mission. To take meaningful action. This does mean a lot to the global vision of this church, and you have a shared mission around that. So you extend your hearts around that mission, and you have an outward focused generosity as a church. Here's proof of that. As soon as you walk into the sanctuary and you look up on the outside there, you see your vision and your mission statement pasted. So I want to read that to you because I really do believe it sets up a great framework for us today. Your vision statement is empowering God's people to what? To restore the world. That's massive. Restoring the world. And your mission statement, it's directly in line with that. Transforming lives from neighborhoods to nations by what? By the power of God's love. So if you're new here today, it's your first time walking into this environment, I want to encourage you. I want you to know who you are in community with. This is a group of people that cares about the vision of this church. It's not just, we're here to restore the world. Restoring the world takes everything. It takes everything from all of us. It takes an extreme amount of intentionality. It takes that drive. It takes courage for you to achieve that. I know 2 things are going to be true today. One is the Lord will move on your heart, both personally and as a church, to extend the footprint that this church has globally. And 2, the enemy will do everything he can to stop that from happening. Why? Because he does not want to see this room extend and what happens here today and what we're sharing in this moment extend beyond the walls of this church. The enemy does not want to see what you as a church do week after week and year after year, 6 years in partnership with OneChild, pushing back the darkness in this world. Does not want to see that. Sometimes I think it's really good for us to look back and look at these different anchor points of all the years that you've been committed globally. It really sets a foundation for where you're going as a church and what you're doing. And here's proof of that. You've launched 6 years of partnership with us. 5 countries around the world, 7 Hope Centers. Those Hope Centers are attached to a local church, a thriving local church within a community. 508 children sponsored over those years. You started in countries like Haiti and Kenya early on, and then you added Uganda and India. And today, breaking news. Today, you are launching a new community in a new country, the country of Armenia. Isn't that exciting? I know most of you are like, Ty, I have no idea where Armenia is. So I made sure we put it up there on the map, but you can see that particular region, look at the countries that are around there, how significant this launch is for this church into that region at this time. Right, there's some photos from the Hope Center there. They sent these to me just earlier this week. There's active programming. Pastor Levon and Karun and that entire team, they've been in operation for decades there. This is new to OneChild. It's new to Mountain Springs, but it is not new to that community and serving the people and the kids of Armenia. Hey, this is you. This is a picture of Mountain Springs. And we call you at OneChild, we call you child champions. You are a part of a global community of child champions. Now, I know that most of what we've celebrated and everything that we've just looked at, none of that happens without community. You know, Pastor Daniel and your team, great mission and vision statement that they could write. You can post it up on the wall. You can wear it on T-shirts. You can put it on your website. But that comes to life. That mission, that vision, restoring the world with the power of God's love, that comes to life because of you. Because you walk it out. You take action. You take those meaningful steps. You're the ones that are mobilizing that vision. So I titled today's message, A Global Community of Child Champions. Why? Because God intentionally designs us for community. A community, I believe, to be marked by these three things. By belonging, by contributing, by serving, by giving your time and your resources, and then all together, this is wrapped in that shared purpose and that shared vision. We're going to start with belonging today. When you belong, I think you can agree with me, you feel seen. When you feel seen, you feel loved. You're in a community of people that recognize you, they love you, and then comes value. You feel valued within that community. And I want to look at this from a biblical foundation. Genesis 1:26, then God said, let us make mankind in our image. Notice something about how he phrases this. God doesn't say, God says, let us. From the very beginning, he reveals himself as relational. The Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It's not just three persons sort of living together, getting along. It's three persons in constant indwelling, meaning existing within. And then just one chapter later, God makes another significant statement. In Genesis 2:18, he says, it is not good for man to what? For man to be alone. So first, let us make mankind in our image, in the image of God, the relational aspect of that. And then it is not good for man to be alone. Church, even in a perfect world, even right at the beginning, before there was sin, before there was brokenness, before there was poverty, God designed us to live in community. He designed us to live with him. He designed us to be a part of something where we can all express that connection and community together. Community isn't just modeled by God. It really is derived from his very nature. So I think we can all agree that we're not designed to live alone. We're not designed to live in isolation. In fact, isolation is exactly where the enemy wants us to be, outside of the presence of God. Isolation is where the lies that you feed yourself get really, really loud. The words that you speak over yourself, maybe the words that others have spoken over you, they start to get really loud. And the truth of who you are, the truth of who God has called you to be, the truth of who you were designed to be through him, who you were created to be in his image, that truth, what happens? It begins to get pretty quiet. And like I said, that's where the enemy wants us, isolated, alone, because that's where he can attack. Have any of you ever seen the show Alone? It's been on a couple of streaming services. I think it's the 13th season. Incredible show. What they do is they take 10 contestants and they put them out, usually like northern Canada somewhere. And at some point in the 3 months that they're there, it gets pretty cold and it's this extreme environment. And they go out there and they literally are alone. You can take the backpack that you have and the clothes that you have, and then you have like 10 survival items that you can carry, maybe a knife, an axe, a fishing line, tarp, rope, sleeping bag, and things like that. But then they give you some camera equipment and you go out there and you're meant to record your journey and document that, and they edit it into that show later. So what happens is you get to day 10, day 20, day 30, day 40. The goal is be out there for 100 days, try beat everybody else around you. You have no connection to them at all. You don't know where anybody else is at. But you got to survive the 100 days and you could win $500,000 or whatever it is. And season after season, if you've watched the show, you'll recognize this with me. Season after season, time after time, they get given this sat phone. And whenever there's any danger or whatever it is, you can tap out. And all of a sudden, beep. Hey, I'm tapping out. Beep. And they start tapping out. The number one reason, and I've researched this, is loneliness. People break down. And I'm thinking, you guys are professionals. You signed up for this. I mean, these are like extreme survivalists that have do this all the time. And you're tapping out on day 30 because you're lonely. I'm sitting there on my couch eating popcorn and ice cream, watching the show. And I'm like, are you serious right now? You're alone for 100 days. I got 4 kids. I'm like, can I go fishing for 100 days? That would be amazing. Alone. But they tap out. They're broken. They're weeping. Isolation, being alone. They talk about missing family, missing connection, missing friends. The brain starts to process that loneliness as physical pain. This is proven too. Your body responds that something's wrong because we were created, we were designed for connection. And over time, that pain turns into anxiety, it turns into depression, it turns into fear, it turns into hopelessness, it ultimately turns into despair. The complete loss and absence of hope. At OneChild, we see this all the time in the communities that we work in. You walk into the community and it's pretty obvious, right? You can see extreme poverty. You can notice it just by the surroundings. But then you begin to talk to people. You sit down with kids. You sit down with some of the families in the community. And that's where the relational and the emotional isolation begins to surface and show. I've seen it over and over, sitting talking to people, where they start mentioning despair. My situation will not improve. And that's a reality for millions of people out there. So we know that belonging to a community is important. We've established that, specifically the church. And this is where you begin to come into community and you begin to contribute, you begin to serve, you begin to catch the vision of this church, restoring the world. You catch that vision, and many of you have been doing this in this partnership, and I want to thank you. 6 years, you've walked faithfully, you've joined the journey, you've attached yourself to the calling of this church. I want to thank you for allowing children to walk into safe spaces and places where those child champions greet them. They know them by name. They believe in them. Church, I've seen this in the communities that you're serving in, where what happens in those centers, the life-giving atmosphere that's in there, it's in complete contrast of what they experience on the outside, the darkness of those communities. Sometimes where the very innocence of just being a child is completely robbed from you. And in the worst cases, it happens through your family too. I've seen it in the communities that you're partnered in around the world. I want to take you on a little walk right now. This is footage that I shot with my own cell phone over the years. Our tagline at OneChild is hope in hard places. Communities like this where extreme poverty is the loudest voice. That voice can crush the dream of a family. It can crush the dream of a child. Where breaking the cycle of generational poverty requires real intervention. Church, no child this young should be left to fend for themselves. But this is the daily reality for millions and millions around the world. Church, this is not just some random footage. This is Kasugu, Uganda, a community that you have been partnered with for over 2 years. You sponsor kids here. You've invested here. This is one of the largest slums in Kampala. So yes, isolation and despair are a reality for many. But this is where OneChild partners with who? We partner with local churches, those hope centers. We work with committed leaders. We work with child champions who deeply care about children. They deeply care about their families. They care about the vision of that local church reaching the next generation for Christ. That is happening all the time in the communities that you serve. These are your communities. Doesn't this look like you? Doesn't that look like Mountain Springs Church? I think so. You know, when I walked in here today, I was greeted by somebody. They greeted me at the door with a little candy. Your kids come in. They're in a place there at the back where there are people that love them, that know them, that see them, that believe in them. There's people that are greeting you, that are worshiping with you. It's an incredible story when you come into a place where people care. And that's why gathering in the church is so important, because it matters to God. In Matthew 16:18, God said, I will build my church and the gates of Hades will not, what? Overcome it. Jesus didn't say, I will build strong individuals to do it alone. He said, I will build my church. In Ephesians 5:25 through 27, Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. He gave his life for this. He gave his life for this gathering. It is the ultimate contribution. We talked about sharing. We talked about being committed to that vision. It's the ultimate contribution. Today is Pentecost Sunday, right? 50 days after the resurrection, 50 days after Easter. This is the start of the church. This is where Peter spoke to 3,000 people, and the church began and was mobilized to go and spread the gospel globally. That's what we're celebrating today. So let's recap. We need to belong to a trusted community. We need to belong to the church, right? That's a given. That releases us to catch the vision and to serve. And all of this is because we're in alignment. There is an alignment with who you are. Doing something together as the body of Christ. Together we can do something, and you have done something significant. I want you to look at these images up on the screen as I begin to read this. Do you see yourselves up there? Colorado Springs, Mountain Springs Church. Those are some of the other communities that you work in around the world. I think we can look at the environments and all agree it looks different. Different challenges in those particular areas. But I tell you this, whether it's a desert community in Kenya, mountaintop in the Philippines, tribal community, there in Uganda, what's happening within those buildings, the tremendous vision of people serving and praying and worshiping week after week, it looks exactly the same inside. Mountain Springs, you've been appointed to restore the world. You've been appointed to link arms and hearts with communities like this around the world. And when you worship here, when you sing for those like we did this morning, when you sing for those that can't, when you sing songs like I Believe, You Are the God of Miracles, when you sing that, I promise you this, it's heard in those communities. When you give of your time, when you give of your resources, when you are committed to the vision, I promise you this, and I have seen it over. I've walked in your communities multiple times over the years. It is felt there. It is felt there. They sense your presence and your commitment. When we come together like this, belonging and sharing, the darkness and the lie of you will never get out of this. This is all you will ever be. This is just the life that you've been handed. The lie of you will always be alone. That message, that lie from the enemy, it will not overcome those churches. It will not overcome this church. There is something significant that can and that will happen today in a continuation of that story. It's already happened over the course of these services. There is a shift. There is a continuation of that story. Mountain Springs, over the last 2 years, you've showed up. You've sponsored kids through Bridgely. It's an app that we've created, we've been working on in communities like India and Uganda. You've pioneered with us, and I want to say thank you. These are your communities. These are some of the latest posts that are in there. You can scroll through all the celebration of that story, and that's why we designed this platform, so that you can engage personally with those communities. You can see their story. You can see exactly what's happening as they journey. I want to thank you for those of you that have been committed. I know it hasn't been perfect as we've been developing everything, but we've really been working with those frontline partners on how to tell your story. Share it with the people of Mountain Springs. You know, I had somebody in the previous service just at the end there ask me, where does my $44 a month go? Where does it go? And I understand that. I know that you need to know exactly how every dollar is spent. You deserve that transparency. I opened up the app and I said, you want to see where it goes? It goes right there. Because that story that's being told is not told by us sitting here in Colorado Springs. Yeah, we love to celebrate that. But that story is being told by that frontline partner. You can see it there. So if you sponsor today, you will immediately enter this community. If you've been on a journey with us and started in Haiti and Kenya all those years back, exciting news. In August, mid-August, you will receive communication from OneChild. You'll receive an email, and you can open up that link, download the Bridgely app, and immediately you'll be entered into that community, that cause community, and you'll see your sponsor child. It's all there being prepared. So if you've been on the journey with us in the traditional sponsorship method for a while, you're going to engage with that community and engage with your kid. You can send them a message right there. They can send you a message. I do want to point out that every time you communicate with a child, there is an adult, there is a child champion that's with that child, right? It's important to us to have child protection built around this whole thing. So look out for that communication in August. And today, you can go out there into the lobby. Here's a child profile. You can see their picture and the age and the country. On the back, it's a couple simple steps. Scan a QR code, download the app. There's people out there that can help you. I would encourage you not to leave with this. If you leave with this and don't follow through, then somebody else can't sponsor the kids. So please let us help you do that while you're here. It's $44 a month, like I said. I like to look at it as $11 a week. I think it puts things into better perspective for us. I want to thank you for your commitment. And what we're going to do now is I want to show you how easy it is to engage with that community and send a message to them. We're going to open up the app here, and this is your Philippines community. Now, you've been partnered with them for a number of years, but today is the first time that you can actually engage and launch in Bridgely with that community. So I want to send them a message on behalf of all of us here. I've opened it up, and all you have to do is go over here and start a post. And before I add a video, you guys ready? I mean, you're about to be live on an island in the Philippines in this community. You're all looking your best. Big smiles, everybody. All right, so we're going to add a video. I'm going to record a video. Let me flip it around. Pastor Arnoldo, Pastor Edwin, I'm at Mountain Springs here in Colorado Springs. Everybody say hey. Woo! Hey, we wanted to take a moment. We want to share with you that we love you. We believe in you. This church has been on a journey with you for a number of years. They are committed to you. They believe in you. They see you. I want to thank every child champion. I want to let you know that we are praying for you. We're praying for the vision that God has on your heart. We're praying for everything that's ahead of you. I know that that mountaintop community in that tribal village, way out there on that island, that you still have so much that God wants to do through you. And we are standing with you. Everybody say bye. We love you all. Stop. Use video. And it's going to be loaded there in just a second. You can do that right now. You can send a child a message. You can begin a relationship. You know, we talked about being isolated. We talked about being alone. We've spoken about despair. And I guarantee you this. There are a number of those kids that are out there. Yes, they're attending a Hope Center and they're surrounded by people. But the communities that they live in, it's challenging. And there are a lot of kids that are fighting through all of that right now. Who am I? Where do I belong? Who has God designed me to be? They're wrestling with that. If you're in this room today and you can align with that, and you're here today and you say, Ty, yeah, I feel a little lost. I feel fear. I feel anxiety. I'm sitting here amongst community. I feel isolated. I feel alone. I want to let you know that you're in the right place. Just like we worship today, and Pastor Bobby said, there are people that see you, they are praying for you, they are committed to you. You are in the right place. So let's all go out there. I encourage you to walk up, Look those kids in the eye, read a little bit about them, get to learn. There's a video, you can hear them greet you. Let them know that they are not alone. Thank you.